There are a lot of great games on PlayStation, but only a handful transcend entertainment and become cultural landmarks. Games that don't just age well, but shape the culture long after their release. The 5 games in this video don't just look impressive, they each carry a unique identity. Each one builds a world you can lose yourself in, a cast of characters you can understand, and a style that makes the experience feel unmistakably its own. These games are not simply great, they're flagships, and that visceral identity is what makes them stand out as the best PlayStation has ever produced. Number 1. Red Dead Redemption 2. RDR2 is not a fast-paced action title. It's a world that forces you to slow down, to feel the weight of every step. The setting is the fading American frontier, a landscape full of forest, snow, and small towns that feel alive because they're full of routines. It's the kind of world where you can hear the wind, smell the smoke, and feel the cold through the screen. But the most important thing isn't the visuals, it's the way the world behaves. Animals hunt, people live their lives. The environment doesn't exist to serve the player, it exists alongside them. At the center of this experience is a man who isn't trying to be a hero. Arthur Morgan is loyal, stubborn, and caught in a life he didn't fully choose. The plot isn't built around saving the world or defeating a villain. It's about watching a group of people collapse under pressure, watching loyalties shift, and realizing that the life you've built is falling apart. Arthur is fascinating because he's not extraordinary. He's ordinary in a way that makes him more relatable. He makes mistakes, he doubts himself, and he is forced to face the consequences of a life built on violence. The story's power comes from its patience. It doesn't rush you toward a climax. It makes you live with the characters long enough to feel the loss. Gameplay supports this by reinforcing the feeling of weight and consequence. Gunfights feel dangerous. Travel feels long. Every action has a cost. You don't just move through the world, you inhabit it. And because the game doesn't allow you to speed past the experience, it creates an emotional connection that feels rare in modern games. Number 2. Grand Theft Auto 5. GTA 5 takes a completely different approach. Instead of slowing you down, it constantly pushes you forward. It's a world that feels like it's always awake, always moving, always ready to punish you for making the wrong decision. The setting is a sprawling city built on extremes: wealth and poverty, power and desperation. Los Santos is a place where every neighborhood has its own energy, and Blaine County feels like the forgotten edges where people go to hide or survive. The story revolves around 3 very different people, each representing a different kind of American ambition. Michael is a man who wanted a normal life, but can't escape the world he built. Franklin is young, hungry, and desperate to rise above his circumstances. Trevor is chaotic and unpredictable, a character who seems to thrive on the destruction he causes. The brilliance of the game isn't that these characters change dramatically, but that they reveal different sides of the same world. Their stories collide, and the result feels like a controlled explosion, big, loud, and oddly precise. Gameplay is fast and polished. Driving feels tight, shooting feels responsive, and the mission design keeps momentum high. The game is built around the idea that the player should always be doing something, always moving toward the next set piece. It's the kind of game that can be played in short bursts or long sessions because the world is designed to entertain constantly. The result is a game that feels enormous without ever losing its energy, and that's why it remains one of the most enduring PlayStation experiences. Number 3. Fallout 4. Fallout is a post-apocalyptic story that builds its world through detail rather than spectacle. The setting is a broken civilization where every ruin and object tells a story. Old advertisements, shattered buildings, and abandoned homes all act as evidence of a world that once existed. The environment is the narrative, and the player is constantly reminded of what was lost. The Commonwealth feels like a place where hope has been replaced by survival, and every location, whether it's the ruins of downtown or the overgrown outskirts, reinforces the same truth. The world is dead, but people are still trying to live. The central story is personal. It begins with a tragedy, a search, and a world that doesn't care about your pain. But the supporting characters are what make the game feel human. Each companion has their own motivations, their own opinions, and their own moral lines. They react to your choices, and that reaction feels meaningful because the game forces you to confront what kind of person you want to be in a world where survival is uncertain. Gameplay is built around choice and customization. You can build your character to fit your playstyle, stealth, heavy combat, or something in between. The crafting and settlement systems add a layer of ownership that many games never reach. You're not just exploring a world, you're rebuilding it. That's what makes Fallout 4 intriguing. It turns the apocalypse into a sandbox, and it forces the player to decide what kind of future they want to create. Number 4. The Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim is a fantasy world that feels both ancient and alive. It doesn't force the player along a single path. Instead, it offers the freedom to explore, to discover, and to become someone in a world that feels vast enough to support any story. The setting is full of mountains, ruins, and forests that look like they've existed for centuries. Every location feels like it has its own history. The main story is about dragons and prophecy, but the real power of the game lies in its characters. The people you meet aren't just quest givers. They feel like real individuals with lives beyond the player's needs. You can join guilds, make alliances, and become part of factions that shape your identity. The characters may not always be deep on their own, but the world's consistency makes them feel real. They exist in a living world, not a stage. Gameplay is flexible. It supports any style the player chooses. You can become a mage, a warrior, a thief, or a mix of all three. The game rewards experimentation and exploration, which makes it feel like a world you can truly inhabit rather than just visit. That freedom is what keeps players returning years later. It's not the story alone, it's the feeling of becoming someone else in a world that never stops offering new places to explore. Number 5. God of War. The final game on this list is a modern example of how to blend action and emotion without sacrificing either. The setting is mythological, but the tone is grounded. It feels cold, heavy, and dangerous. The world is brutal and unforgiving, but the design never forgets that the story is the center of the experience. The forests, mountains, and hidden realms all feel like they exist for a purpose, not just as decoration. The central relationship is what makes the game memorable. Kratos is a man trying to change. He's no longer the violent force he once was. He's restrained, controlled, and constantly aware of the danger he carries within him. His son Atreus is not a side character. He is the emotional core of the story. He learns, he grows, and he challenges his father in ways that create tension and meaning. Gameplay is deliberate. Combat feels like a craft. Every fight is a test of timing, positioning, and skill. The game rewards players who learn the system rather than those who rely on chaos. And because the combat is so controlled, it makes the story feel more grounded. The fights don't feel like distractions. They feel like part of the journey. This game stands out because it doesn't rely on spectacle alone. It uses gameplay to support character growth, and that's what makes it feel genuine. These 5 games represent different approaches to what a great PlayStation experience can be. Some build worlds that feel alive. Some build characters that feel human. Some give players freedom, while others use restriction to maintain focus. But what they all share is a clear identity. They know what they want to be, and they build every element around that identity. That's why they remain the best. Not because they're perfect, but because they're flagships.